All right, face replacement tutorial. This is part 2. In part 1, I brought in the other image and placed it on the clipboard, placed it here, got it to size, and got it to where it is now. So now I'm going to do some of the fine tuning. So what I need to do is give myself some space. Currently the main image is at 67% zoom. We'll go right to 200%. So it gives me the option to work, and I can see everything I need to see. Notice over here on the layer window, I've got the opacity slider over here. Let me slide that around a little bit so you can kind of see that Bonnie's head is still a little bit bigger than it needs to be. Let me shrink that down with the scale tool just a touch. Just a couple of ticks. All right, now I'm going to move, using the move tool, move her up kind of into position. I want her eye being in pretty much the right place. I might need to rotate her just a touch more. The eyes don't have to line up exactly. I want her to be fairly close, though. It is fairly close. And notice how her jawline pretty much follows the Amazon's jaw. In fact, I'm probably going to go ahead and let the cartoon jawline actually become Bonnie's jawline. All right, now that I've done that, I'm going to go back to the layer window, right click on the floating selection, which is Bonnie's face. Right click, and I'm going to create its own layer. I'm going to select two new layer. Now I'm going to right click on my new layer and select add layer mask. This is what's going to let me eliminate all the extra stuff around the outside of her face. So I'm just going to select the default full opacity. All right. I'm going to adjust the opacity, give me mostly, well, you know what? I'm just going to, wow, that jawline's just, look at that, man. I'm getting good at this. All right. So I'm just going to kind of leave that just like that. I'm going to select the mask, and then I'm going to select the paintbrush tool. I'll select this kind of round tool, not the one that's a completely sharp edge, but the one that's just a little fuzzy around the edge. I'm going to select that one, and I'm going to select a larger size. We'll go with 20. It really does. These numbers are meaningless. You just make it as large as it needs to be given the scale of your thing. Okay, so now I'm going to come over here and start carefully eliminating that extra stuff, and I've got it just touching that jawline on the cartoon. I'm basically going to lose Bonnie's ear, and we're going to use Blondie's ear. Okay, now I need to go up the other side. I'm going to adjust the opacity a little tiny bit. Give me more Bonnie in this one. And come around the left side. And that was just a little too deep, so I'm going to select Edit, Undo Paintbrush. Do that twice, because I think I hit it twice. So that's why you want to be careful here, because if you don't get carried away, you can very easily just undo what you did. And we start getting up into the hair, which is great. All right. And let me check one thing. You know what? I'm going to let Bonnie's face pick up the contour of the cartoon face. That way you get the neat kind of cartoon line. And her face matches pretty darn closely with that. All right, so now I'm going to adjust the opacity to favor Blondie here, and I'm going to kind of trace around her hair, being careful not to consume that eye, because that's going to be Bonnie's eye. I don't want to eat that up. All right, let me come around on this way, do the same thing on this side. I'm going to get that long strand separately in just a minute. Okay. Let's take a look, see how that looks. Basically looks pretty doggone good if you ask me. All right. So I'm going to stop part 2 here, and then part 3 I'm going to go in and fine tune, pick up that strand of hair that's hanging across her face, and get started on some other stuff.